but I'd like to be good at both. So let's begin. Hi, I'm Cloaked Games. Uh, this is an experimental dev stream where I'm just going to be showcasing a little bit of my game, which is called Daughter of Dreams. It is a work in progress, turn-based tactical RPG adventure game with hybrid procedural terrain generation. Uh, that's I haven't actually written the pitch yet. I just have all my bullet points, and I need to work on that. But for now, that's what I'm calling it. And the goal of this is I want to post more regular stream updates. And why don't I just load the game to start? Let's see if I can play game and talk at the same time. I might not be able to do that anymore, but the goal of this is because I want to post more regular updates about my game, but I really hate video editing. My hope is that maybe live streaming can be kind of a compromise there, where I will possibly, if there's interest in it and I enjoy doing it well enough, then I will. Oops, I don't want to do that. I will live stream maybe once a week for 40 minutes or an hour and just showcase what did I do that week. Probably not even that. It might take 10-15 minutes, and then they'll just be unedited short little videos that I don't have to do any uploading process for or any editing for. And yeah, I know the quality output will be lower, but kind of compromise between what is low effort and what provides the most interesting content for the viewers and the hopefully future fans of my game. So let's start here. Oh, what did I do this week? Well, I did make the word luminary gold colored. I'm not going to this stream go through all the dialogue. We can read this cutscene. There's a lot of dialogue in this game. It's a JRPG. There's a lot of text. My alpha testers keep telling me to add more text, and they seem to enjoy reading it, which is kind of funny to me because generally when I play games like this, I get impatient with the text. But it's also fun to have a game that has an actual well thought out story. I plan stuff ahead. I've been editing stuff. It's a big difference from my previous projects. You could chop pots. Very nice sound effect. So we'll go down here, and I can just show off the combat right to start. Oh, I'm also working on... Okay, this is very experimental. Most of the abilities... Oops. Most of the abilities look like this, where they're white and gray. I'm experimenting with coloring them. So Sonia's are kind of done. I don't know if I like this better or not. So if anyone has played the game and knows enough to give me feedback on that, that'd be great. Also, the player movement speed is increased. I found walking too much was unfun. We'll use this, attack those two globs. They only have one move, so they can't do anything, and then we'll just kill them. Ooh. Hit the switch during combat, which is nifty. That switch opens this door. I do need to add some kind of camera pan effect or whatever so that you can tell where this goes. Lots and lots on my to-do list. I'm trying to add more content first so that I can get more testing done, but there's so much to do on this project. It's so big and complex compared to anything I've worked on before that I'm not quite sure how to manage my time in the most effective way. Here's Eliane. I should have more dialogue for her, but not right now. I'm going to skip most of these battles because I'm not particularly, like, I fought them many times. I don't need the items to not die. These leaflies will come up this way. Attack me. Oh, here's camera panning, new feature. Pretty good for and that's also why there's this cool effect where it fades into the back of the space background, is so that the camera panning can happen even if the combat is right on the very edge of the battlefield. I'm jumping topics a lot already, and that's because I'm not very well organized for this. So bear with me. I hope it makes sense. If you have questions, you can leave comments or DM me on Discord or whatever if you know me there. Let's see what's in here. Strange leaf, hooray! Oh, this little sprite is a new thing for the items. Also, I added this at the request of an alpha tester. You can now show the item description if you get an item, but most of the time you just hit the OK and then move on real quick. I don't want to waste your time with unnecessary dialogue. And that's the thing, I was mentioning all the dialogue earlier. I don't want to fight that right now. I was mentioning all the dialogue earlier, and there is lots, and so part of my approach to minimizing the annoyance of that is to make sure that there's always an option to bail if you're like, this is too much. What's the TLDR? and you just hit the bottom dialogue option will always have the least text in it. Just kill these. Strong like, boom. Got green blob, see? Just hit one button, move on. Instant text box. Oh, here's a puzzle. Let's see here. So one thing I want to do more of that I'm doing, and this is what I mean by hybrid proction. I mentioned that at the beginning. This thing here is actually just procedural generated placed here. This is a puzzle. The goal is to make it follow a pattern. Let's see if I can solve it. Oh, I think, okay, so see this row and the row on the right over here match. And then the left of that is this shape where there's 2 out. I have to make that shape. So let's push this here, and now there's 2 rectangles. This pattern is now repeating, and I get these chests. Got health potion and another health potion. Excellent. I should write a blog post about the items because I have something I don't like about a lot of RPG games. We'll skip this dialogue. That's what we're talking about in that. Speaking of, actually, let's equip our life charms. Sonya gets this one, and Lydia gets this one. Charms are things that give you a bit effects during combat. Life charms are special. Everyone can only have one, and each one has one that's kind of designed for them, but you can swap them around. And the effect is a passive, completely unique passive effect. That's what the Holy Grimoire at the top right there and Blessing of Tareya means, is the life charm abilities. And they're designed to complement their abilities. And then the other thing is when we upgrade like health and magic points, those are actually applied to the life charm. So you can swap around your builds between your characters. And as you find more characters, there might be a reason to do that. To be honest, this design idea, I'm happy with, kind of. But I'm starting to run into some subtle issues with doing it this way. And it's such a hard problem to solve that I've gone so far as to think maybe I don't want life charms anymore. So stay tuned for that. I might come up with some other ideas. Another newish feature is this little yellow exclamation mark for if you've picked up an item but haven't looked at it yet. And when you toggle off of it, it goes away. So here's a new item. Here's a new item. Just kind of streamline this process, make it less confusing. Another thing I don't like right now is how you get these right when you recruit the characters. But I'm not. But most of my playtesters, even the ones that have played the game several times, always forget to go equip these. So I'm not sure if I should add something to the text that says, "Hey, make sure you pause and equip," or if I should give them to you later after you've played more of the game, and you might be like, "Oh, what's a new item by that point?" One idea would be have the. I'm going to add it so on the top right there you can see. Oh, this is an experiment. The face buttons of the controller show what action it will do. So group and split, strike with the spear. I'm going to add one of those for pausing to see the inventory, and maybe I'll add an exclamation mark next to it if you have an item that you haven't looked at yet. And that way, players will know they have a new thing. So that will help a little bit to guide players to that, but I'm just not quite sure how to get them to engage in that part of the game mechanic. Toss to hit that switch. Man, I really need to add a nice juicy clang like chime sound effect for that. Walk this way. Ooh, popper berries. Got one of those. Let's see. Oh gosh, this is I might need to reduce the spark blossom health because early game these things are a pain to deal with unless you already know what you're doing. So for new players, I'm a little bit worried. But that's very nice. +3 charge. Now Sonya can do 5 damage with this attack. So you know what? Why don't I just obliterate that? And then swap to Lydia. Let's give it a draining cast. Where will this go? Probably to the... Oh, down there. I'm going to just do this. Oh! Okay, so here's... Radial cast used to just increase the radius. But now it has a minimum radius. So it has a minimum radius of 3. What's interesting is I can actually do this to hit those without hitting Sonya and Lydia. So you know what? I'll do that. That's nifty. I haven't actually played with this ability yet, if that makes sense. I just updated it, and I'm ashamed to admit I don't actually do very much testing of stuff. I make sure it works, and then I let the alpha testers try it out and take notes then. Because playing it myself is just, it doesn't work at this point because I have too good of an idea of like the game mechanics that, okay, I'm going to friendly fire Lydia to get the extra charge from that. Charge strike, boom. Let's see. I only have 2 MP left, and I don't have MP restoration right now because I removed that ability temporarily. So let's go here. How much damage does this do? It's gonna do 6. I don't want to die. How much damage can I do with? Oh, I have channeled frost. Okay, 3. Plus, I could imbue this to do 6 total. 6 total, and then I could hit the bottom one twice. Oh, or I could just freeze them both. Freeze. Freeze. Okay, so now I can just move Sonya up here and kill those things. And you know what? I will actually end turn for now. So now I should have enough turns available to kill both of these things. Probably. So Lydia doesn't have very much MP. These are cool enemies, and I feel confident in them because I am thinking so very hard about how to win this fight. That this is a neat enemy. So I didn't mention it, but these little, what are they? The purple bulb things. They actually heal the main flower part, and it summons up to 3 every turn. So I'm glad that I'm thinking so carefully about how to win. But I definitely think they need to be nerfed a little bit because there's no way a beginner would not die on this fight, gonna be honest, since I'm already down to 4 health myself. I can win, though. I can just attack that, and then I can just Draining cast this 3 times. Boom. Boom. Okay, dead. Good fight. That was cool. This is one of those games, like, I know I've learned so much, because when I play The Last Librarian, I'm constantly finding things to critique of it. And that was my old project. But when I play Daughter of Dreams, obviously I find things to critique of it, but I'm also continually surprised by that went better than I expected it would. And I'm not trying to brag here. What I'm trying to say is that I've learned more about game design than I even realized, because a lot of the things that I do and honestly entirely by intuition, end up being good design in the end. So I'm really happy with that. I'm sure I have so much more to learn, though. So I will continue to find more things to change. Yeah, so I'm skipping the dialogue this playthrough. Just kind of want to give a good idea. Like, one of my goals here is to just showcase the game, give a good idea of some actual gameplay, right? There's no gameplay recorded anywhere that is publicly available. So, chop all these crops just for fun. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm an anti-grass chopper, even though I added the game mechanic and I still get addicted to chopping grass. Monster Claw. Oh, that's actually interesting. Okay, so this adds piercing damage, and piercing is a mechanic that doesn't see much use yet. But it basically means it reduces opponent's armor before dealing damage. So it's bonus damage to armored targets. And right now there's only one enemy in the game that has armor, because I have to be careful with it, or a new player will just be like, wait, why am I not doing damage to this thing? So I'm not sure. There's a lot of this is a problem with RPGs generally, and I'm having trouble with it here, which is I'm finding that there's a lot of really nifty mechanics like armor or type weaknesses or status effects and things like that that are really hard to explain to a new player, especially someone who hasn't played an RPG before. Like one of my testers who has played Fire Emblem Three Houses 100 times, pretty much intuits the mechanics of this game. But others of my testers haven't played any games like that before, which makes them fantastic testers, but also means that, like, what it reveals to me is that there are some things in this game that, as hard as I've tried to simplify them, as hard as I've tried to simplify them, are still not simple enough or not well explained enough. And like for now, what I'm doing is I just progress the story for not really any reason. But wait, for now, what I'm trying to do to address that is just make it so that the game is easy enough that you don't have to know those advanced mechanics. But I still need to make it so that there is a way to learn them eventually, and I need to make it so that you aren't confused or overwhelmed by them at the beginning. I think a little bit like Warframe, where look at me going around cutting all these plants. I think a little bit of like Warframe, which is a game I adore, though I don't play it much anymore. And one of the things it does very well is there's a lot of advanced, complicated mechanics that you kind of get later, but they're introduced throughout the story. So you unlock one thing at a time. And I wonder if there's a way I can do that here. Like, there just aren't any armored foes in phase 1, in whatever difficulty level you start with. Oh, this is the new area. Well, hold on. We'll go back out here while I'm talking about that, and then we'll come back out there. Um, like, for instance, maybe there's no armored foes in the first difficulty level. And then in the second difficulty level, there adds armored foes, and when you first encounter an armored foe, there's like a tooltip that explains it. And that can happen, a few hours into the game. And so that way, every new mechanic is introduced over time. And that's what I think I need to do, but it's really hard to plan because, first of all, I just don't have enough of the game yet to like fill that space with new mechanics. And also, I don't have any way to like show tutorials yet. The nice thing is my dialogue system works during combat. So I can totally have tooltips that pop up like that conditionally. But a tooltip isn't enough because a lot of players are, first of all, not going to read it. A lot of players are going to forget that the tooltip exists. So it's just, all I'm saying, I guess, is something that is obvious to all game designers that have worked on anything. Explaining new mechanics to players is so hard. It's so hard. So I don't know. Thank you for listening to my little rant there, and hopefully some of those ideas stick in my head, and I can work on adding some more tutorial mechanics. I definitely need to do that before I have a demo. Oh gosh, 4 fire czars. These are the most dangerous enemies. So this area is the Tanglewood, which is the first dungeon. Oh yeah, so I'm experimenting here with. This is actually a maze, and these red blockers will eventually be like plants that prevent you from moving. And so this dungeon, and this is something that's hybrid proc gen, right? So the game is handcrafted like if I was making a Zelda-like game, like The Last Librarian. But what I'm trying to do is in every single area incorporate some elements that are procedurally generated in different ways. So in this dungeon, and the dungeon is also seamlessly incorporated into the overworld, as you saw. So I think of this as a dungeon, but when you're done with it, it will be more opened up, and then it will become more like an overworld area. That's my hope. And then on top of that, every time the area regenerates, which is there's a few ways to do that maybe I'll talk about those later, but then there's a new maze that generates as well that is overlaid on top of it. So this room, there's a few different ways you can go through it, and here this is a dead end. And up here, then you have to go around and hit this switch using a special ability that I don't have yet to go to the left, and then up there's a house. I can't quite see it without starting the combat. Hold on, let's go over here. Up here, there's a house, and you can go through that to the room up at top. So there's a couple of ways you can navigate this room. And in fact, some places may be locked off, and you actually have to regenerate the area in order to reach them. And then my other goal would be like in spaces like that. What I would do is generate, because this is a dead end, right? I will generate a treasure chest and a combat encounter in here so that there's always kind of dynamic things. And my idea with this hybrid proc gen style where I'm procedurally generating terrain on top of a handcrafted space is to alleviate the problem with backtracking in an open world adventure game, which is that when you come back to places you've been before, there's nothing new to find. All I'm trying to do is to fill the previously explored environments with new things to find or just new stuff to interact with. It doesn't have to be entirely new every time, but it means that when you're coming back through an area, there's still something to do. There's still game to play instead of it just being, well, I cleared that space. Okay, introduced to them. Ooh, I want to buy, wait. Hold on, what is the T? Charge 1. Oh, are these the same? Charge 1. Okay, so I can buy Klavak or tea. Are they the same price? 10 each. 20 each. Why is the tea 20 and the coffee 10? It does the same thing. Plus 3, charge 1, right? 20. Plus 3 MP. Charge 1. What's the price difference for? MP? First of all, The +1 charge is good enough that it deserves 20 gems, 20 shards. I haven't moved on to. In the last librarian, they were called gems, and that's just how I refer to every fantasy game currency ever now, even in my own games. So first of all, the charge alone is worth 20 shards. Second of all, the MP is definitely more valuable than the HP, so I don't know why the price of those isn't swapped. But I'll buy both coffees, because I might use those. Also, wow, the stream is... Well, the stream is very smooth. The delay is more than I would like, but I think that might just be how YouTube works. Okay, let's try this fight. This is 4 fires are... Oh god, it's this bug again. So Sonia is actually right in front of Lydia, but for some reason she's displayed here. And this I cannot replicate. I don't know. I don't know why it keeps happening. It has to be like the combat position is left over, but I don't know what causes it to not reset correctly sometimes and reset other times. And as soon as I move, you'll see it gets fixed. So I'm actually going to go here, and now everything's fine. Just the display position is off, and I can't explain it. This has been in the game for like 2 months, and it's on my list, and it's just like, because it's just a graphical bug, I haven't got around to fixing it. And also, I have no idea. I don't know about that one. Okay, so we're going to collect charge from this. Oh god, I don't really want to let Sonia stand right there, because she will probably just get burned. Like, with fire magic, I mean. So, oh, you know what I can do? I can move here, which is as far away from the other 2 fire zards. And then I will draining cast these twice just to get rid of them. Oh, could I radial cast here? In any useful way? No. I don't want to do that, I don't think. Okay, I'll collect the chocolate again. There we go. The globbers use jump. It looks like they're pathfinding through walls, but they're actually jumping, so they're going over the wall. That's the logic there. There's no animation. Well, the animation is the same as the move animation at the moment, because animations I am not good at, and so those kind of get left to the end. 3 damage to Sonia. Now, what if I just... Hold on. What if I move Sonia here first? And then radial cast, imbue, imbue, imbue. That's a juicy imbue. That was nice. Okay, let's see here. I don't need to... I mean, I could just do this. I don't have to do anything fancy this fight. That was really clean. And then, you know what? I'll just move Lydia. I don't think it matters. We'll just go there, whatever. Take a little bit of damage. I could have done that without getting hit anymore, but... Kill, kill. Move up 1. Here / kill. Dead. Very good. Let us see. Oh, hey, Discord helpfully muted itself because I'm streaming. Let me see what those DMs are real quick. Okay. Excellent. Okay, I'll have to reply to that later, but it's not related to this. So going back. Oh, by the way, wait, why can't you see? Oh, you should be able to see the mouse cursor. I'm going to leave it behind the webcam. No one will know. There. I could equip this, but it doesn't matter. That's the thing is like, okay, similar to the whole, just like teaching advanced mechanics, like charms themselves need an explanation. And also like, I find in the playthroughs right now that I don't usually get a useful charm until kind of later into the game. So I feel like I need a basic useful charm that is in a chest right at the beginning of the game that you're intended to find. I should probably do that. Like something that just, I don't know, increases your resistance to something. Problem is like, because I'm dealing with low numbers, every charm is really strong. So like if I say, like piercing damage is strong if you're fighting armored foes, but those aren't until later game. So this is kind of useless. And then if I give you something like that increased your base attack damage, that's just really strong because the most I can do is 1, or the least I can do is 1, I mean. So +1 damage is so much when you're only doing 2 damage per hit. And so it's like I'm not quite sure what kind of a thing I could give you at the beginning. Maybe +1 movement speed would be interesting. Um, +1 resistance to a particular element type, but then you're doing this thing where you don't know what element types are yet because you haven't played enough. So yeah, I have a lot of. I mean, all of these design problems that I'm talking about are like, yeah, I don't think I'll talk to us yet. I shall not speak to you, for you show your false face and deny the truth. All these design problems that I'm talking about are like really kind of minor things, but this is what I'm really enjoying about developing Daughter of Dreams is that because it's a turn-based RPG game, there's all these kind of numbers and things. A lot of the work I'm doing is design and balance work, right? I'm tweaking numbers. I'm thinking about the impact of different abilities on combat. I'm thinking about how enemies interact with the player, and I'm spending a lot less time doing animations and graphics. And already, I mean, this game looks better than the last Librarian ever did, but like, um, part of that is that I don't have to do as much drawing in the first place because a lot of it is behind the scenes. It's just this text. It's the text of the charms. It's um, what these different items do. That's what I'm spending time designing, and that's what I'm really enjoying about this game. So I can go here. Oh man, I wanted Sonia on the right where Lydia is. Oh gosh, this is going to be a tricky one. Yeah, so these fights are unusually difficult. The reason is this area is just a prototype for now, and I wanted there to be some hard fights to mess around with. Also, what's up with those globber? Like, they're all lined up. Yeah, speaking of that, I was even thinking of, ooh. I was even thinking of possibly, if I go here, I think Sonia is, or Lydia is safe. Possibly adding an intentional bias for the enemies to line up into neat lines. Because this kind of thing is really satisfying and fun, but doesn't happen all that often. Because look, I can hit, that's +3 charge, and that's so wonderful. But right now, there's no way to like make the enemies line up in a nice, convenient pattern. You just kind of get lucky or not. And one of my design principles is let's cheat in favor of the player, right? What can I do here? If I put it here, and I can do that here, then I do +2. I think I'll hit. Let's try this. 1, 2. Oh, well, you know what? At this rate, just go 3, kill all of that, and take the friendly fire damage. Okay, excellent. Fire. Okay, Sonia's on fire. I don't like that, but she'll be okay. This is scary. That's. I think I need to reduce the flower's health just a little bit because they can also heal. They have the most base health of every regular enemy, and they can regularly heal themselves. That's a little bit crazy. I might make them even 8 instead of 10 would make a huge difference for early game players. What can I do? I have +8, so I think. Oh, I think Sonia can one-shot this. Watch this. Okay, maybe it's fine. That was fun. That needs a really nice, satisfying sound effect. I haven't done much sound effect stuff yet, but I might do that today. That'd be a fun thing to do today, particularly since I have a new microphone. That's part of why I'm streaming too. So now I should be able to get some really nice recordings, or at least nicer than I could before. But yeah, my old mic broke, so I was like, time to buy a new one, and I upgraded just a little bit. So this will kill the fire zard too. So let's do that. Easy fight. Okay. And this is why Radial Cast now has a minimum range, because look how much damage Lydia did. Lydia has completely bonkers damage potential. Let's Draining Cast that twice. And then... how do I kill this best? I just do this. Spear Strike, dead. That was fun. You'll notice you heal after every fight, and this is what I was talking about. I mentioned briefly with items earlier. I do not like RPG games where you have to spend all your potions after every fight to make sure you're at max health. That just irritates me. It's just a drain on resources and extra hassle. I don't want to have to open my inventory every time and do it. I don't like that doing battles costs resources. Plus, the most fun thing to do is to use your MP to cast the most powerful fun abilities. I'd rather you be able to do that every single fight instead of only every third fight, or have this feeling where you want to conserve your energy even if it means the fight is slower and more boring. So I was like, you know what? You just get 10 every turn. Well, and even more if you upgrade. So I think that's a better approach, but it does make it. Well, I think it might make it even easier to balance too, because now you kind of always know exactly roughly um, how much resources your players are going to have each fight. And then items, I almost never use items right now, even after that. And I'm like, part of that is I'm better at it. Part of that is the game right now is easy enough you don't need it. And so I'm kind of I'm 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 conflicted on items because I think they can be really cool, but right now they don't have much use because you can play it without items. And if you can do that, then why would you use items? They're a drain. But then in the other hand, it's like, well, you can't also sell everything. So maybe when I'm playing, I'm going to sell everything so that I can buy more charms, which is what I do actually do when I'm playing this. But if you're just selling everything, what's the point of having items? But then I want the items so that when you're finding new loot chests and stuff, like there's new things to find. Um, and so it's another one of those design conundrums that's like, really, it's a minor thing, but I'm constantly thinking about the impact of every mechanic. And like right now, consumable items is really underutilized. Um, that was my brain just going off. So one thing that in Paper Mario encourages me to use items is there's a badge called Refund that gives you back like 50% of the sell price of an item every time you use it. I am thinking I should add that into my game. And then I was thinking, what if it's 100% of the sell price? Like you can straight up sell the item and use it during combat. And that would be something you could equip to any player, and that player would then just be really good at using items. Right? So this is another thing with a turn-based RPG game, and what I love about it is I have a design problem. I can fix it just by making something, just buffing the players. And if I have to, what I do is I spawn more enemies or I give them more health and I make them stronger to compensate for the fact that the player is super strong. Let's put Lydia in the middle if we can. Oh my goodness gracious. Hello, slimes. Let's do this. Okay, so if I do this, I'll be able to... Uh-oh. I messed up. I could have done this in one turn. Maybe? Maybe I can't. Too bad I don't have one more MP. Like, I can't eat the coffee, because then I could have done that in one turn. Speaking of coffee, let's see how much do I have left. I have one swallow, but I'll take half of one so that I get a second one later. Move here. It doesn't matter. I've won the fight. Globbers are, because they only have 3 health, extremely easy to kill. I'm not going to use an item here, right? I could use an item and just finish the fight a tiny bit faster, but why would I do that? Oh, I had another way I could have done that. I'm a silly man. Okay, so I'm going to radial cast them now just to... Oh, I can't. Ah. Hey, dagnabbit. I could have done this in one turn and it took me 3. Okay. Whatever. Maybe I couldn't have done it in one turn, but I feel like I should have been able to. Let's open these chests. Ancient Dust. I recently buffed the sell price of these. These are like just... Materials means just go sell it for money. That's what it is. Just a way to add some more flavor text into the game. So let's go sell and see if we can buy anything in town. Man, I'm having a bunch of fun just talking to myself. None of you are watching. There's 0 views. But I'm just kind of I'm on a roll, and I think I will be happy to post this video in the end. Hopefully, people will find it not completely banal. That's also my expectations there. There's the last sip. All right, rarities merchant. Let's sell some items. I don't need this. Sell items. By the way, charms are completely unique, so you can only get one at a time. But if you sell one, you can then re-obtain it from various sources. That item isn't in the general pool, so you can now find it in a chest again. Other charms get added to the charm shop after you lose them. Also, the sell item thing should definitely go back to the menu to sell more stuff, because this is annoying. Oh my gosh, 30? Lots of slimes. Okay, so now I've got 150. Can I sell anything else? I could sell these things. Eh. Well, I mean, what am I going to do with popper berries? Ooh, but if I sell this, I get 200, which I can do some stuff with. Let's go see here. Celeste, what's up, Celeste? Oh, what? You only have one charm today? I'll skip the dialogue. Now I can buy. Well, okay, I would buy this, but I'm not going to use it because I don't want to spoil anything with this item. So we'll leave it there on the shelf. This lets you see secret treasure chests. So one of my goals is to, when I design this overworld, to have it really dense with things to find. And one of the ways I'm doing is this item you can use anywhere, and it will sometimes show you a secret treasure chest. And the locations of those are hidden through riddles that are in various places, or just suspicious places on the overworld. And the idea is that none of them are required items, but many of them are useful. And it's so, as you play the game, you're probably going to miss stuff, right? There's some things that are really hard to find, and that's on purpose. 100% completing this game should be difficult and not necessarily the intended way to play it. But I want it to be such that, you know, if you play the game again or you're backtracking through an area after it's been regenerated, you might be like, wait a second, is there something there? And you will probably have new things to find all the time. This is something that I experienced. Let's see, what is this? Health into magic. You know what? I will buy this and give it to Lydia. Let's be a bit risky. So that reduces her max HP. Oh, wait. Oh, no, it's there. So now she has 5 HP, but 15 MP, which is risky, but lets her clear battlefield battles better now. What was I saying? Oh, this idea of coming back and finding something is something that happened to me while I was playing Elden Ring on my second playthrough, which is the one that I actually got close to the end of the game with. I was like in Limgrave finding stuff that I didn't see the first time I played. There's just so much things, and a lot of it is just kind of obscure and hard to find, that you're always finding something new, and that's one thing that I really enjoyed about that game. So that's something I'm trying to do here. So every room pretty much has. I mean, this one doesn't really, but I'm trying to have every room have at least something unique to interact with. So this little signpost here, and then over here there's a secret. I mean, it's not particularly hard to find, but here I count this as part of that other room. Got health potion, nice. This kind of, I'm trying to make every room have a landmark in it. So this one has this nifty bridge. This, by the way, this was a bridge. Honestly, I'm very happy with it. One of the most complicated things to make that I've done in a weird way, because this involves like 4 extra layers of the tile sets to get all these tiles looking correct. Because of how the water and the ground works in most cases. To put something on top of that was surprisingly cumbersome. But anyways, this room has this point of interest here. This randomly generated. It has this encounter with Lydia. There's a secret up there. You can see that. It has the changing altar, although this changing altar will be moved eventually when I have a better spot for it. This room has a nice little alcove with a combat encounter on it. It has something up there. Oops. Fell in. And then over here, there's also a chest, which I don't want to fight this fight, but believe me, there's you can just see the 1 brown pixels on the edge of it there. That one's not obtainable yet, but kind of same thing, where I'm trying to like also make the rooms connect in ways that aren't just on the boundaries of the room. Oh, here's a mini boss. But you know what? Let's finish with the mini boss. I feel like I'm running out of things to say, and so for this week, we'll end with the hypercharged Giga Globber fight, and let's see if I can do it without dying. Okay, so first, obviously, this is quite intended by me. I want to get my 6 charges out of this. Okay. And then what do I want to do? Just do damage? I probably want Lydia in the back, because now she only has 5 health, and I am afraid of her dying. So I'm going to put her here and move the chakram forward. Oh, I could just freeze it over and over again. Let's try this. This might be too strong. This is the test of, is the frost mechanic too strong? It probably is. I need to make it more expensive, don't I? It should probably cost 5 MP, particularly when you get new abilities like this. The other option would be some kind of mechanic where like status effects become less effective over time. That's something like Bug Fables does. Like you start with a 50% chance of freeze, and then it halves each time you successfully freeze, or 100%, and then goes to 50, then 25, etc. I don't like that because it feels like it's a good solution mechanically, but it feels hard to convey. And I also want to avoid having any not guaranteed status effects. I don't like critical hits unless there's a way to improve your like. I just don't like the RNG in there. I want to be able to predict what's going to happen, except for what the enemies are going to choose to do. Like that RNG is okay, but I don't want status effects that have only a chance of happening. So I can do 6 damage 4 times. Almost. I can't quite. Well, this is an easy fight, I guess. Let's just freeze it again. Okay, yeah, the frost thing is, oh. What happens if I freeze twice? It does stack. End turn. Okay, freeze is too strong. I'm not even sure if making it cost 5 is good enough. Well, no, it is. Making it cost 5 is good enough because, first of all, then Lydia would only be able to do it 3 times at most. And that's not without buffing its damage. At least early game. Second of all, it only targets one thing. So in most cases, there's lots of enemies. And targeting one thing means it's pretty only much good against bosses. And for this reason, the second boss I'm working on has an ability that heals itself and makes it immune to status effects. So you can do some status effect stuff, but it can kind of counteract that. And I feel like most bosses are going to have some kind of equivalent to that. Either they'll be made up of lots of different enemies, or they will be able to heal itself. Oh. Well, I don't want to do this. Wait! This bug again. Okay, crazy bug number 2. I can't express how bizarre this corner is. Look at that. The way this effect is drawn is just by drawing a rectangle. It's just a sprite that's stretched over an area. Someone tell me, how in God's name does this happen? Wait. I know how in God's name this happens. This has to be 2, right? Yes. This has to be 2. Okay, so it's drawing a rectangle that goes down to each corner of this. And the reason this happens... So I have to be drawing it twice, and that corner where they overlap, where the orange flower is partially visible instead of fading out like the rest of it, which means there's 2 overlapping there. That's what's happening here. So somewhere in my draw code, I'm drawing the rectangle twice, and one of them is offset by a different amount. And then I guess maybe it only happens in battles where the... There's 2 options. It either happens in battles where, like, there's an even side length and an odd side length, or something like that, right? It might have some kind of even-odd parity thing. or it happens in battles that are the second battle in the room. And so this top rectangle is actually the one on the bridge, and this bottom rectangle, the one that sticks out on the bottom, is the one for this fight. And for some reason, that might happen if I don't clear the surface correctly afterwards. All right, there's the game dev brain programming in my go. Let me try that again. There's the programming brain of mine going. I think I fixed it, or I solved. I know what's causing it, and I know how to solve it. I'm pretty sure I'm just not clearing the surface correctly. So let me double check this theory. Yeah, look at this. Wait. See, this is the edge. What? Okay, now I'm confused again, but... What? Anyways, it's something like that, and I can fix it now. Excellent. You know what? I'll turn on debug mode and skip this battle because I don't want to fight it. And so, thanks for watching, everybody. If anyone watches after the fact, I really appreciate it. Let me know if this kind of format of me just playing the game and talking about it, whatever comes to my mind, works well for you. In future iterations, if I do this again, I'll probably spend more time talking about specifically what did I do this week. It might be shorter too because I talked about a lot of stuff this week already. This is kind of my alternative to a dev blog. I'm not trying to do any tightly edited stuff because that's just something that takes too much time out of me and isn't fun to do. But this is more fun, just a little bit of rambling, a little bit of showing off something that I'm proud of. And if you like the game, stay tuned. Subscribe to this channel for updates. Follow me on Twitter. At some point, there will be a Steam page to wishlist and maybe like a web page and other things like that will let you get more regular updates on the game. I am hoping to have demos soon, TM. It's just there's lots of stuff that has to go into making that happen outside of just developing the game, and so trying to get in the groove of doing that. And that's what part of this stream is for, is just to have some kind of regular progress update, some kind of way to show what's going on. So anyways, thanks again. I'm gonna sign off, say that's good, I'm gonna go eat lunch, and let me know if you want to see more like this. Thanks, have a good day.